Dajahao, my name is Garrick, and welcome back to Taiwan, Laowai. So, I just got back from vacation, which, probably doesn't look that way to you because I have these videos backlogged quite a way. But yeah, I spent a month back home in America. I got to see my family and friends, check out all the old haunts. It was super fun. But I'm back in Taiwan at last, which means it is once again time for Mission Michelin. That's probably the worst camera trick I've ever done, I'm sorry. So yeah, we are once again continuing our journey to eat at every Michelin-recommended restaurant in Taipei. You may recall in our last one of these, I was planning to check out a whole bunch of places at once, but I ended up getting there too late to check out most of them. Well, that's what we're doing today. We're gonna make our way back to Taipei's Wanhua District, to the Huaxi night market. Although, as you can tell, it's daytime right now, so most of the market is not going to be open. And we're going to check out a small handful of places that got the Michelin Bib recommendation, which means great food at an affordable price. It's a beautiful day. We're finally out of the winter doldrums, I think. The sun is shining bright. It's a good time to be back in Taiwan. So I'm going to hop on a bike, make my way over to the train station, and I will see you in Taipei. Peace. And one smash cut later, we are back in Taipei. How's it going? So once again, this is Wanhua District, same place as our last video, but in the daytime, and significantly hotter. So there are 3 Michelin places that I'm hoping to hit today. Possibly more if my stomach feels up to it, though I highly doubt it will. Plus, I don't want to jam too many places together in the same video. I feel like that be a little disrespectful to them, Anyways, we are heading back in the direction of Wang's Broth, which was the place we visited in our last video. There are 2 more Michelin street food stalls that are basically next door neighbors to Wang's Broth, and we're gonna hit those up first. First on the agenda is a place called Yuan Fang Guabao. This place specializes in Taiwanese pork buns, which are like the bao, where you get the slab of pork belly, sorta wrapped in a soft, pliable bao dough. The style of Taiwanese pork buns also involves peanuts and cilantro. It is a bit of an interesting flavor combination to wrap your head around if it's your first time trying it, but it is very tasty. I've had it a couple times. It's very good. And hopefully this place will do a very good version of it, so I will see you there. Also, we're taking a slightly different route this time. We are going to walk north through Bangka Park, which is really close to the train station. It's like 2-minute walk away. I love how it's got these lion, dragon statues guarding the entrance. That's very cool. It's pretty small by Taiwan park standards. It's just like this one block, but it does look very scenic. I'm eager to check out those statues over there. My goodness, look at that day market over there. If I didn't already have food plans, I would definitely pay that a visit. Alright, so this temple here is Bangka Longshan Temple. It is on the north end of Bangka Park, and I just passed by a bunch of old people gathering around signboards or something. Not sure what it's for. My guess is they're signing up to play games in the park, because that is something that old people in Taiwan like to do, I have noticed. I'm glad we're taking the scenic route, because we got here pretty much right as the restaurants are opening, and I want to give them a little time to catch their breath, So, it was quite busy in there, which I guess makes sense because I forgot to mention today is actually a holiday. It's a Taiwanese-specific holiday called Peace Day, which I'll have to look up what that's celebrating, because I did not do my research beforehand, because I'm stupid. There were tons of people on that temple. I think I showed you some of those, like, blow-up balloons. There were people sort of walking under those sculptures, you know, lining up to pray a little under them and move on. And I did as well, because, you know, when in Rome, there's something very fun about visiting a temple on such a packed day. Yeah, there's so many people around, offerings everywhere, incense, prayers. Gives you a very strong sense of community, I guess. You know, even though I can still barely speak Chinese, it makes me feel a part of something. Anyways, we've wasted enough time. The restaurants are definitely open now. Fingers crossed that they aren't affected by holiday hours or anything. Imagine how silly that would be if I missed them the first time and then came back only to miss them a second time. But Google Maps didn't say anything, so I think we'll be alright. See you at Yuan, Fang, Guabao. Folks, we have arrived at Yuan Fang Guabao, and as you can see, we've got quite a line already. My god, that is a long line. It wraps all the way around to the back of the restaurant. It's probably a good sign. I'll make sure to get an insert shot of it later, but this is like 2 stalls down from Wang's Broth. Like, Wang's Broth is there, and then you go 1 down, 2 down, here you are. Believe it or not, the next restaurant we're gonna visit is like right next to this one as well, so it's this fun little consortium of Michelin food stalls. That said, if you want to hit them all in the same run, you're probably going to want to come earlier in the day, because some of these places close down at like 6 p.m. If I'd known that beforehand, that's what I would have done the first time. Oh well, and that's enough yapping from me. I'm gonna shut up and wait in line until I get my tasty, tasty pork bun. See you then. It took us about 20 minutes in line, but we got our bao at last, and my god, look at this nonsense. So it was 60 NTD for this monstrosity, a very fair price, I think. We got pork belly that I think has been stewing in like braising liquid for a while. We've got like some sort of stewed greens as well, and then powdered peanuts and cilantro, which is the Taiwan-specific flavor combination I mentioned before. It's super hot, it's like fresh out of the cooking juice. I can tell this is going to be delicious. It's going to be so messy to eat this with one hand. Pray for my clothes, everybody. Good God, that's delicious. I'd say sweet is the predominant flavor. Whatever they're marinating the pork in was pretty sweet. And then you've got the powdered peanuts as well, which is Very classic sort of dessert accoutrement in Taiwanese cuisine. Then you've got some balance as well, like a little bit of tangy saltiness from the stewed greens on top and a pop of freshness from the cilantro. Oh my god, that is super rich and filling. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it weighs you down. It's a very refreshing eat for how heavy a dish it is. God, that's good. Worth noting, this is not crispy pork belly, this is gelatinous pork belly because it's been stewing so long, but it's very melt in your mouth, very tasty. This, my friends, is an unqualified success. Yuan Fang Guabao. Good place. Alright, I'm gonna scarf the rest of this down, then I'm gonna head next door to our next food stall. See you there. Alright, so that sort of neon white sign you can see in the background is the place we just were. And you can see just a few pops over this red sign right here, which is like right near the north end of the market, is Chang Noodles. Now, unlike the last place, it does not look like they have an English menu here. This is definitely catering more to the local crowd. But I'm going to take the Michelin Guide's recommendation and ask for some pork cheek noodle soup, which I'm sure will be quite tasty. Alright lads, we got ourselves a pork cheek noodle soup. Looks like there are maybe some scallions in there as well. This was actually quite expensive. It was 90 NTD. It's like the priciest bowl of soup I've ever gotten at like a street food stand like this. So it better be good. Oh, interesting. What are these? My guess is these are either like peaches or radish, and I'm not sure which. You know what, why don't we start there? Let's figure out what these guys are. Definitely radish. Woo! Very peppery radish, as a matter of fact. Right, so don't bite into one of those if you don't want your mouth to go all peppery for a bit. This is nice. Broth is very rich and soothing. It's like perfect winter food weather. Let's try some with this pork. That's nice. It's a little more toothsome than the pork belly at the last place. Probably it has not been braising for hours, but it's good. Alright, switching hands so I can deal with these noodles with my dominant hand. My god, these guys are hard to work with. Alright. Those guys are slippery. Those noodles are good. They're like at the perfect doneness, just the perfect amount of springy softness, I would say. Overall, it's a pretty good soup. I'm not sure I would say it's a 90 NTD worthy soup. I'm not sure, like, super into this kind of cuisine, then maybe it is. It's good, it's just not my favorite, and I'm not sure it is worth the exorbitant price tag that goes with it. That said, it is quite a bit of soup. Like, if the camera's picking this up, it's quite a deep bowl, so you definitely get some bang for your buck there. There is also more stuff on the menu. Obviously, it's hard to read if you don't speak Chinese, but there's definitely chicken options. You know, they're like little bean sprout platters. You have the option to, like, just get a little platter of, like, stewed pork tail, I believe. This is probably the most traditional Chinese street food I have shown you on this channel so far. It's, like, very down and dirty and, you know, down to basics. But it's the kind of food you can get in pretty much every corner stall in every city in Taiwan. And, I don't know, in my opinion, this place does not really justify the extra bump of the Michelin rating. But it's good, so I'm definitely going to enjoy the rest of this soup. Just drop noodles on my jacket. Whoop. I took it back. That's not even radish, that's ginger. That's a whole chunk of ginger I just put in my mouth. That's why it's so peppery. Woo! Alright, so the next place we are visiting is called Yijiase. It is hard to find on Google Maps because the name is not translated into English. I will make sure I make that super clear in the video where that is. It is another Taiwanese street food place. Michelin says it's best known for its stewed pork belly over rice and tofu, so that is what we are going to get. That said, the menu does look a bit more extensive than the places I visited in my last video. It's got a few more options, so Definitely a bit of variety if you are not in the mood for stewed pork and rice, but still want to check it out. God, it's a very cool temple gate right there. Very cool. I'll admit I am a little concerned about my stomach. I've had 2 Michelin meals already, and I am not exactly feeling ravenous. But I'm sure those complaints will melt away the second I put some delicious food in my mouth. So, see you at Yijiazi. So if you can see, we've got this sort of half roundabout in the middle of the street. And the east side of that roundabout, somewhere in here, is where to find Yijiazi. Aha! Okay, it's this yellow awning on the street corner right here. See those little Michelin dots in there? This is Yijiazi. Oh dear. And it seems the line here is also ridiculously long. Lovely. It has been 40 minutes, and I am still in line. Oh boy. Oh my god, that took an hour! Jeez! So yeah, fair warning, if you come to this place and you see a line, you are gonna be waiting a long time. Be prepared for that. Whatever, we got our meal. This is Kongdo Fan, which is the restaurant's specialty, braised pork belly over rice. Pork belly has been stewed in soy sauce and other tasty stuff for a while. Got some marinated tofu, pickled cucumbers, and not quite sure what that is, but I'm sure it's tasty as well. And this is a mando wa gui, which is a savory rice cake. It's described on the menu. I think I have seen these guys before. They're like rice flour wrapped around a savory filling. I've never had one before, but I am very interested to see how it tastes. Oh my goodness, look at how tender this pork belly is. It's just melting right off. On the plus side, all this waiting gave me a chance to build my appetite back up so I can properly enjoy this nonsense. Alright, let's try this pork belly on its own. Okay, that's really nice. Oh my god. That just sort of punches you with umami right out the gate, and then it mellows out into a more mellow umami the more you sort of slurp on it. And you do have to sort of slurp on it because that's how tender and gelatinous it's gotten. Heck, that's good. Alright, somebody else just popped down at the same table as me, so I'm gonna start speaking more quietly. Let's take this tofu. Definitely marinated in the same stuff as the pork belly. The good thing about tofu is that it's basically a flavor sponge. Whatever you put it in, it soaks up and it takes on that flavor. It's funny, the tofu is actually a lot firmer in texture than the pork belly. The pork belly is just so soft, while this still has quite a bit of body to it. That's kind of funny. Let's give these pickled cucumbers a shot. Very nice. They're actually not too vinegary, they're more sweet than anything. But they still do sort of cut through the richness of everything. Let's try these pickled veggies or whatever down here. Is that ginger again? That might actually be ginger again. Well, whatever it is, it's packing some heat, as evidenced by those flaming red chilies mixed in with it. I've also unearthed what I believe to be some sort of stewed cabbage or stewed greens. It's very fun. There's like layers to this thing, you can just keep on digging. That's very nice. This actually almost more pickly and vinegary than the cucumbers. Sort of double punching you with the vinegar, which is nice considering how rich the main body is. Alright, I'm going to dig into this savory rice pudding and see what it's all about. Oh yeah, there's definitely some sort of meat in there. You can see the outside is like gelatinous and stuff. This is my first time trying this. It's going to be very interesting. I was right. It was interesting. That is shockingly meaty for like, what I guess is like rice gluten or rice dough or whatever. I think it's the gravy they pour on top. It's just like infused with the essence of pork or something. And you can see more clearly here, there's like chunks of meat in the center of this nonsense. I'm gonna guess it's pork. That's because most meat things in Taiwan are pork. It's a very interesting sort of textural experience. So the outside's all wibbly and gelatinous. Then you get the very solid hunk of pork in the middle. Then you got these toothsome bits of probably ginger, some sort of a vegetal thing as well. You have to sort of crunch through them a bit. I can't say it's my favorite thing ever, but it is enjoyable. I do not mind eating it. It's just been a fascinating experience. It was like a really interesting restaurant. But again, make sure you're prepared to brave an hour-long line if you come here, because it is no joke. Alright, I'm probably making a bit of a nuisance of myself. I'm gonna put my phone down, I'm gonna finish eating, and then we'll be on our way. My god, I am stuffed! I could not finish either of those things. My stomach's just woo. So I was originally gonna split this off from the last two places and do a separate video with this place and one more place, but considering how crammed full my stomach is, I think we're just gonna have to cut our losses here. Worth noting that Ijase is not the cheapest of places you can go to. The pork and rice and stuff was 110 NTD, which is, it's getting pretty up there. And the savory rice pudding or whatever was 40 NTD, which is a bit more reasonable. So total comes out to 150 NTD for that place. Which, funnily enough, 150 NTD was the combined price of the past two places as well. So I've spent in total 300 NTD on this food crawl. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. Also, I got myself some bubble tea because I have not been drinking enough all day. So don't mind if I slurp while I walk. I think it's really cool that Michelin has started doing this Bib certification stuff. It's a great way to get attention to smaller eateries and food stalls that might not be, super high-class fancy destination places, but are still really good for the kind of cuisine they offer and are worth a look. It's certainly given me a lot to chew on. Literally. Now, don't worry, my next video will not be another Mission Michelin. I'm gonna do other stuff. But once I come back to this series, I think it might be finally time to move on from the Bib certification and try out our first Michelin star. The thought fills me with a mix of dread and anticipation. I can't wait. Once again, the places I visited in this video were Fang Guabao, Chang Noodles, and Yijiazi. All of these places are in the northern Wanhua District of Taipei City. They're all within walking distance of each other. The first two places are literally right next to each other, and then Ijase is maybe a 7-minute walk away. So it's a pretty fun food crawl if you're up for it. Just be prepared to wait in a few lines because, my god, they were not kidding. As for me, I think it's time to head back to my apartment and snooze off all these calories. Happy Peace Day, everyone. Here's to what comes next. Once again, thank you all for joining me at Taiwan Lao Wai. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, smash the bell, share with your friends, and all that good stuff. And as always, I will see you next time. 再见. Bye-bye.